Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the athletic fields here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. All sports coverage here on Milford TV is proudly presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Rail Trail Flatbread Company, a casual American dining experience specializing in an all-scratch-made kitchen featuring wood-fired flatbreads. An inviting atmosphere for the whole family to enjoy. And we're happy to be bringing you this live coverage here tonight, courtesy of the Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. Rentschler Biopharma, they are a global contract development and manufacturing organization specializing in biopharmaceuticals and advanced therapies. They take pride in contributing to nearly 25% of FDA-approved biopharmaceuticals in 2023. Rentschler Biopharma, reliability you can trust. Coming to you a little bit later in the day here today for soccer action under the lights. at the MHS Turf. Milford TV Executive Director Tim Coet here with you on the call as we bring you our second edition of Varsity Boys Soccer action of this fall sports season. Milford taking on a rival from the Davenport division in the Canton Bulldogs, and without further ado, game action getting underway. A 6 p.m. start time for this Hockomock League crossover match. It's been a spirited rivalry between these two teams in past seasons. It's been several years since we've had an opportunity to watch these two teams play as part of our Milford TV coverage, and Milford with a lot of energy right off the opening kick, leading to an opportunity here deep on their attacking side. Looking for a redirect off the header. That ball is guided just wide to the far side of the net, but again, good energy and a good possession to get us started here tonight for Milford. The Scarlet Hawks come into this matchup tonight in second place in the Kelly Rex Division standings. They are 2-1-3 overall. And for Canton, they are in third place right now in the Davenport Division standings. They are 2-2-0. Milford coming into action this evening off of a win just 2 days ago on the road against Attleboro, a 2-0 victory. Milford has come away with points in each of their games on the season since that home opener and season opener that we were able to cover back on September 3rd against St. John's Prep, a game that Milford lost 3-1. That's their only loss so far on the season. So this young roster gaining more and more experience, starting to gain some confidence here in this 2024 fall campaign, as this ball is guided back to the Milford keeper. And now a whistle over the middle will go against the Scarlet Hawks, leading to a Bulldogs free kick. We're looking back through our previous coverage before the game today. The last time we were able to cover Milford versus Canton in boys soccer was all the way back during that memorable 2020-2021 school year, when, of course, we were still in the depths of the COVID pandemic. High school sports was not having MIAA playoffs for the majority of that season, and so these two teams ended up meeting up in the one and only Hawk Cup, which Milford prevailed in that game by a score of 5-0. As this ball is put into the box, a brief bobble by the Canton keeper Dylan Wright, a junior, but he is able to hang on eventually. The lights are on here at the turf, and we're just a couple of minutes into this one, ticking down to 37 minutes on the first half clock. And a long clear downfield. And this will go as a goal kick for the Scarlet Hawks. Robbie Capelli with the goal kick out to midfield. Milford whiffs on an initial chance to settle it down. Now trying to clear it out through traffic. Good footwork there across the middle. That was the freshman, Enrique Andrade. Canton now bringing it the other way, up the far sideline and out of play. Canton looking to break out of a losing streak. They were able to win their first two out of the gates, but they've lost their two most recent games at home against the surprising Sharon Eagles and on the road against the North Attleboro Rocketeers. I say the surprising Sharon Eagles as they currently are in first place in the Kelly Rex Division standings in their first season in the large school division. We'll dig into more of those Kelly Rex and Davenport Division standings as the broadcast goes along. In the meantime, 35.5 minutes on the first half clock, scoreless through this early going as Milford now looks to send this ball up the middle, able to get a step on the defense, and a sprawling save is made, but the redirect is in for the score. It was a great ball that got that scoring opportunity started, The initial shot, I think, was from Gio Capelli, and Wright was able to make the save, but let a juicy rebound go, and that was where Danny De Silva was able to take care of business, and the Scarlet Hawks, not quite 5 minutes into this first half, were able to take a 1-0 lead. Danny De Silva, who was Milford's goal-scoring leader last season as an underclassman. He scores here to give Milford a boost right out of the gates. And for De Silva, that's his second goal of the season. He has a couple of assists as well. Again, back on their heels again here defensively. They send the ball out of play, and we'll give Milford a toss in, and already the energy starting to ramp up on the Milford bench in the stands. Always a different energy for these soccer contests when they're played under the lights. Meanwhile, Milford with a corner kick. Get the play started quickly. A little looping feed into the box is pulled down by Wright. That corner kick play, it ended up being Rodrigo Lorenzo who started that into the box from the near corner. Rodrigo Tico Lorenzo. And now this ball squirts loose right to the center line. A little over 33 minutes to go, and a 1-0 lead for the Scarlet Hawks as we get everything up to date on our graphics. We're happy to have everyone aboard for the live coverage here tonight. A quick note to anyone who may be confused, we're right now coming to you live locally only on our high definition channel for Verizon subscribers here tonight, as we have a Milford School Committee meeting coming up on the educational channel at 7 o'clock. So in terms of our channel feeds, either on the TV or on our website, we're only on the Verizon High Definition channel tonight, but of course, fear not, we're also streaming live anywhere, anytime on our YouTube channel. So happy you found the coverage this evening. Tim Coet and Patrick Garapi on the crew for this game tonight. Back-to-back nights, the start of back-to-back nights that will be here at the Turf. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow to wrap up the week with football Week 3 action as Milford hosts the Wellesley Raiders. Milford plays this ball back to the keeper. They'll try to start the breakout along the far sideline. 31:58 on the first half clock. Danny De Silva goal. Just shy of the 5th minute of this first half, giving Milford an early lead. And a trip across the middle. And a little bit of extra conversation between one of the officials and Canton's Ryan Garrett, who was whistled for the foul. No card issued. Gianelli Chikine sending this ball all the way into the box where it's held on to by Wright. A little bit of a miss there on defense for Chikine, but backed up by Capelli. Up ahead now, good feed finds Gio Capelli. Now this ball fired off into the box by Lorenzo, and it's deflected out by the Canton defense. Now good footwork towards the far side of the field for Canton's number 11. That is Vlad Francoeur, definitely one of the players to watch out for in the Road Whites throughout this game tonight. The Canton Bulldogs are under the direction of head coach and also Canton High School Athletic Director Danny Erickson. Meanwhile, Milford head coach Antonio Pinto, no doubt pleased with the progress that he has seen his team make over the last 2 weeks. Right now in second place position in the Kelly Rec standings. Competitive in every game so far. And meanwhile, this ball quickly comes flying across the goal mouth. It will go the width of the field and out of play. One thing that may be a factor for these teams out on the field tonight is the wind. It has at times been a pretty steady breeze. Right now seems like swirling a bit from left to right. But at times it has been gusty. Still overall comfortable temperatures. It was right around 70 degrees as this game got started. It's all cleared out over the middle by Gabe Santos. And now trying to settle it is Marcos da Silva. Canton able to take over. Past the opening 10 minutes in this one, still a 1-0 lead for the Scarlet Hawks. This ball will get dumped out of play down by the near corner, Milford. Will have a chance to toss it in. That did go out of play shy of the goal line. Moved along over the middle, but taken there by Benjamin Weaver. And now into a dangerous spot. Milford able to clear it out. Good closing speed there for Andre Mora. Can't toss in for Maxwell Eagles. It's flicked right back out of play, but Milford able to get a piece of Garrett as that ball went out, and so they get the toss in. And now across the middle for da Silva, and then knocked back. A race for it for Bruno Estevez. Canton on the attack. They send this one in quickly, and read well by Capelli. He's able to go down to the knees to make a clean stop. So since the Milford goal, Canton has been able to settle things down on the field a bit. It looked like Milford was really ready to seize control of this game through those first 5 minutes, but Canton has stabilized things out on the field. Still 26 minutes and 43 seconds to go in the first half as the toss-in goes down the line. We'll pass back to da Silva, and he'll accelerate before leaving a centering pass that could not be settled down by Danny da Silva. And Milford will now reset. All the way back to the defense now. Santos. Pass couldn't be settled down by da Silva. Now back across the middle. Mora regains it for the Hawks. Now a little flick to Mikey Moreira, but he loses control. Canton goes the other way, and now Milford will dump it back in. Right in the direction of Frank Core. Up ahead now for Canton, but now Milford will intercept. Drifting back towards Santos yet again. A nice ball up ahead, but just a hair too far out in front. And it's picked up by Wright. Heavy cloud cover hanging over the field. By all accounts, we should keep this one rain-free. Rain expected overnight, but should hold off until things are wrapped up here at the turf tonight. That's certainly our hope. Ticking down to 24 minutes to play. As Canton breaks it out up the far sideline. Milford closes things off, and the ball will go out of play off the touch of Moreira. And right now, Coach Pinto with a quartet of players perched ready to check into this game. Again, with a blast down the line, but that is out of play, and now the substitutions will come in. Mike Gonzalez, Mateus Zek, Brian Ribeiro. Among the subs coming in for the Scarlet Hawks. The break, meanwhile, for the Milford goals leader, Gio Capelli. Nice to see Sezek back out there. He was injured in that season opener against St. John's Prep. Was unable to return to the game. You can see he does have a sleeve on the right knee. But good to get back out there. Good body positioning there for Gabe Santos. As now Sezek will move it along. De Silva waits. Trying to protect. Jockeying back and forth with Maxwell Eagles of the Bulldogs. Ball goes out of play. And Canton will get the goal kick. Ball leaks through a crowd. Milford able to settle it down. Gonzalez fires ahead. And Canton will now guide it out of play off the foot of Voisin Brogan. As we get close to the midway point in this first half action, Sezek now with the ball on his foot. Feeds a little pass now to Silva, trying to curl that in, and it just goes over the bar. Trying to find just the right touch from long distance. Ball just left a little bit high, but still a nice looking shot from De Silva. Already has a goal in this game to give Milford the 1-0 lead they possess here with just over 21 minutes to play in the half. Zek again will feed it ahead to De Silva. And that ball deflecting, stays on the playing surface. Milford with good support. Now Lorenzo dancing around, ends up getting his feet taken out from under him, no whistle. Francoeur will push that ball out of play. Continue to see more and more fans showing up as we get a little deeper into this one. Milford continuing to control the pace as we get deeper into this half. Good speed along the far sidelines. Canton eventually able to wrestle the ball away. They push across the center line, but good disciplined play from the defense. And Andrade will start it up over the middle. Guides the ball over to the far sideline, and Milford now dumping it in the box with De Silva streaking in. But Wright able to slide in to make a stop. To dip under the 19-minute mark. Eagles pushes the ball ahead. This will take a tricky bounce in, but Capelli had good eyes on it, able to make a stop. Again, Milford able to push this ball along past the center line. De Silva with good footwork now. It's Lorenzo. Lorenzo a little aggressive there as he pushes that ball in from deep. It was well wide to the near side. Wright will give way to Samuel Siega for the goal kick. Milford aggressive there at the midfield line, keeping it in. Short toss in here that deflects to the Bulldogs. And now dumped it back in the direction of Lorenzo. He'll fire in again. This time it's wide to the far side. Lorenzo with a quick release. The last couple of times he's gotten the ball on his foot, trying to find the range. Still a 1-0 Hawks lead as we go under 17 minutes to play in the half. Now up ahead, little flick for Zizek. De Silva. Back to Zizek in the corner. Andrade there as well, it eludes him, and Canton is able to clear it out. All the way back to the Milford D. And now Lorenzo. Nifty little pass. But Zizek unable to settle it down. And now back to Milford's defensive end. Lorenzo pushes. De Silva tries to assert himself along the near sideline. And Milford will get the toss back in. Zek will now give way to Lorenzo for the toss. Lorenzo gets it right back off the toss in. Now a good centering pass, looking for the redirect on the header for De Silva. The timing just a hair off on the leap for De Silva. And Milford pushes back into the box again, just out of the reach of De Silva. Some frustration for Danny De Silva on that play. Milford will start things up yet again. Here's Lorenzo. He'll feed it up ahead to Brian Ribeiro. And Canton has to push it across the goal line. Another corner kick coming up here for the Scarlet Hawks, their second of the half. Lorenzo down into the near corner to take the kick. Wind calm for the moment as this ball comes in too hot, drifts across the field. And Milford unable to settle it down from there. Zek waiting for this one. Now pushes Lorenzo, trying to save it from going out of play. Can't catch up even with his speed. Canton right now struggling to muster any kind of effort on their attacking side. Gonzalez now along the far sideline. Knocks it out of play off of a Canton cleat. Meanwhile, Gio Capelli returns to the field along with Brian Ribeiro. With just over 13 minutes to play in the half. Still just one goal on the board from Danny De Silva in the opening 5 minutes. Milford again, the first to the ball across the midfield. And now this ball played poorly by the Canton defense. Milford trying to make something happen. Zek with a little bit of an awkward pass in towards the net. And Wright is able to gather it in from there. Deep kick this time for Wright, but again, Milford was the first to it. Ball ends up angling out of play. Santos back to the midfield for Ribeiro. Zek now will accelerate forward, and Canton, in desperation, flicks it out along the near sideline. Canton forced to again send it out. Winning this ball, pushing it up ahead now to Corey Biename. Free kick here to be taken by Lorenzo and headed out of play, and another corner kick for the Scarlet Hawks, looking to extend the lead. This time again going the short route to Lorenzo, who will go past one defender, keeps it low to the ground, but his pass ends up going right to the Bulldogs. And now Canton looking to take advantage, getting some bodies upfield in a hurry. Francoeur now trying to get around a couple of defenders. Lorenzo back, and the ball ends up out of play. So what started as a corner kick chance for Milford quickly turned into one of the few trips up onto the attacking side for the Bulldogs offense. Bulldogs with a toss here, trying to change the momentum as we have less than 10 minutes remaining in this first half action. Milford with a 1-0 lead on top of the Bulldogs. This is a matchup that has gone heavily in Milford's favor in the last several seasons. Canton, meanwhile, able to induce that whistle. Francoeur ended up down on the turf, and now a free kick for the Bulldogs, looking for something to give them a jolt. Right on line for the header for Miles Jareb, but the ball goes wide to the near side of the goal, and Canton able to get a scoring chance, but they can't capitalize. Jakeen will make the goal kick for Milford. 7:54 on the game clock, getting into the late stages of this first half. Now heavy contact, and the call goes against Canton. Corey Bien-Aimé putting the hands up as if to say he was innocent, but he was the recipient of that whistle. Ball quickly comes back the other way, however. Good footwork, meanwhile, for Jakeen. And now a tricky deflection. That good speed once again from Marcos de Silva settles things down for Milford. Able to sneak that ball across the center line. Canton defense picks it up from there, and then along the far sideline. Back to Milford. Little flick ahead towards Ribeiro, but he couldn't quite settle it. Milford sends this back to Capelli. They'll start it up again with a little over 6 minutes to go. Canton clearing this ball out of the box. Milford pushes it back ahead to Lorenzo. He weaves his way through a couple of defenders. Will send a shot on goal this time. And a diving stop is made by Dylan Wright. Whistle as that ball came down in the midfield. Free kick for the Bulldogs. To be taken by Owen Morrissey, sends it the short route to Maxwell Eagles. Now a soft header in towards Capelli, but he had an easy stop. Capelli taking his time, and we'll let this ball roll out of the box, and we'll deliver the kick across the midfield. And meanwhile, that ball took a tricky bounce as Gio Capelli tried to settle it down. Trying to battle through some discomfort, as meanwhile it was Brian Ribeiro who sent one towards net. That was deflected away by the hands of Wright. Now another one comes in from the far corner, and Wright again is able to make the stop. That was Capelli with that second shot in from the far side of the field. Ticking down to 4 minutes to play in the half. Milford has kept Dylan Wright busy throughout this half, but so far only the one goal. The sky's brightening just a bit off in the distance, as we have about 20 minutes or so of daylight left. The lights on here at the turf field. The wind has also calmed down. It was much more aggressive as we were setting up for this game. Meanwhile, Milford pushes this ball in tight. Wright will roll this ball out. Rogan pushes it ahead to the midfield. Milford able to steal it away from there. And now just out of the reach of Ribeiro. He gets it back, little jersey tug, fires this one in, and he scores! From long range, Brian Ribeiro able to sneak that one in top shelf, and Milford will take a 2-0 lead with 2:57 left in this first half. So for Brian Ribeiro, that's his first goal of the season. Come into the game with an assist. And now a quick chance developing out of nowhere for Canton. The NMA trying to push that ball past Capelli, but he was able to make a good save. Milford knocking on the door all half long, scoring just under 5 minutes in, and then able to double the lead with that shot from Ribeiro. We now dip under 2 minutes to play. Game clock frozen the rest of the way as Milford stays aggressive. And deep now to Gio Capelli. And now another one comes in deep, and Wright has to make a sprawling stop. And a push on Andre Mora. Gets the whistle. Mora a little slow to get back to his feet. Official over into the area. And trainer Ashley will head over as well. Did not seem to be a particularly serious collision. And Mora now back to his feet. Good sportsmanship shown by Corey Bieneme, making sure that Mora was okay. Maybe about a minute to go now in the half. Sent out of play again. Milford will toss it in. Secured over the midfield by Morera. Another free kick here for the Scarlet Hawks, so perhaps one last chance to tack on to the lead. Good redirect, but not quite enough on it to sneak it past Dylan Wright. Good ball ahead by Canton, but the defense absorbs. Pushes across the center line, and another dump in for Canton. And there is your final whistle. That concludes the first half of play here in the Milford turf. So goals from Danny De Silva and Brian Ribeiro give the Scarlet Hawks a 2-0 lead. Midway through this one, we will pause now for the halftime. If you're joining us on our live coverage, either on our HD channel or on YouTube, hang tight for about another 7.5 minutes, and then we will return for second half action in this boys soccer action here on Milford TV, coming to you live from the Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. And of course, all Milford TV sports coverage is presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Back with more in just a few minutes. Stay with us here on Milford TV. Getting ready to begin second half action here on the Milford turf. The Scarlet Hawks with a 2-0 lead on top of Canton. And once again, before we get started, we want to acknowledge our terrific sponsors for all of our sports coverage here on Milford TV. Our presenting sponsor, the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. They're a casual American dining experience featuring an all-scratch-made kitchen, including wood-fired flatbreads, an inviting atmosphere for the whole family. Check them out right on their Main Street location here in Milford. You can also check them out in Hudson as well. And of course, we also come to you live from the Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. Rentschler Biopharma is a global contract development and manufacturing organization specializing in biopharmaceuticals and advanced therapies. Rentschler Biopharma, reliability you can trust. Milford with a great first half from start to finish, really dominated play. Goals from De Silva and Ribeiro to build up a 2-0 lead as we settle in for second half action. Milford TV Executive Director Tim Coet with you on the call. Patrick Garapi manning the cameras on top of the press box. And a shot sent into the box from distance for Canton is stopped by Robbie Capelli. Not have a lot of action in front of him throughout that first half as he watched his teammates really dominate the pace of play. So Milford looking to attack now from left to right across your screens in the second half. Able to settle this ball as they push it back towards the middle. Coming out with purpose here in this opening sequence. Now Lorenzo, little soft feed, had De Silva to his right. Instead let that ball roll in, and Dylan Wright was able to make the stop. Lorenzo again now. Strange play there over the middle as Samuel Siega tried to stop Lorenzo's progress, sort of stuck the leg out. Ends up drawing the whistle, so Lorenzo with the free kick. Drive this one to the far corner. Collects it. Now a header pushes it out of play. Three minutes into the second half action, and Milford will deflect this one in. And a couple of headers, and this one seals the deal on the third goal of the game. And that looks to be Gianelli Cassine, who was able to put that one past. All got started on the corner kick. The initial header was stopped by Wright. The defense trying to clear it out, but Milford kept the pressure on. And Gianelli Cassine scores the third Milford goal of the game. It is a 3-0 lead now for the Scarlet Hawks. Canton had a little bit of a spark there in that opening sequence of the half, but Milford immediately counters. And meanwhile, getting an assist on the name pronunciation there for Gianelli Cassine at halftime, and to get the name right for the goal, scoring in his second consecutive game. He scored the final goal in Milford's 2-0 win over Attleboro back on Tuesday on the road. And meanwhile, now a shot fired in on Capelli, flanks off the far post, and it goes out of play. Can't get complacent despite the 3-goal lead. A chance developing quickly. Capelli now can clear it out. Along over the middle by the Bulldogs. Now Milford will play it further to Silva now. Little centering pass and fired in. The 4th goal of the game now for the Scarlet Hawks, and everyone firing on all cylinders out there. 2 goals within the opening 5 minutes of this second half. Milford in full control now as Gio Capelli scores his 5th goal of the season, assisted by Danny De Silva. And the confidence just radiating from this Scarlet Hawks squad right now, a 4-0 lead. And Milford on the attack once again. That pass a little too far out in front. Just a completely different feel for this team than what we saw in that season opener back on September 3rd. A team that at times looked a little timid on the field, but they have looked supremely confident right from the opening kick here tonight. Again, maybe getting a little extra lift playing under the lights here, and taking advantage of a matchup that has, again, been very favorable to them over the years. Going back to the 2018 season, Milford is a perfect 8-0 against the Canton Bulldogs. They won their lone meeting last season 3-1. Closer contest in 2022 that Milford was able to win 3-2. A 2-0 victory in 2021, and then, of course, that aforementioned Hawk Cup game back in 2020 that Milford won 5-0. They swept a 2-game season series in both 2019 and 2018, so a lot of success for Milford in this matchup against Canton over the years, and continuing to fire them in on right. This time he's able to make the save. But this team and this crowd pumped up. Still a long way to go here in the second half. Still 33 minutes and change on the clock. And meanwhile, Canton player in some pain down away from the ball. Just sort of slumped down to the turf, and Milford players calling for the trainer. It looks to be Corey Bien-Aimé, who is down and in some pain. So right now the clock stopped at 32:55. So with the injury timeout, we'll take a look at what we have coming up through the remainder of the month of September here in our Milford TV coverage. Still a lot of action before we flip to October. We'll close out this week's sports coverage with football action against Wellesley here on the turf field tomorrow night. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. The football team looking to shake off that last-second loss against Leominster a week ago. So we'll have that coverage live for you across our educational channel, our HD channel, and streaming on YouTube. And then next week, we'll have girls volleyball action as the Scarlet Hawks take on the Mansfield Hornets on Monday, September 23rd. And then later next week, we will have girls soccer action against Mansfield as well on the 26th. And then we'll close out the month of September on the 30th with more girls soccer action as the girls play host to the Franklin Panthers. We'll have much more coverage of this boys soccer team, football, girls soccer, and girls volleyball as the calendar flips to October. We'll give you a sneak peek at the October schedule and what that looks like on our football coverage tomorrow night. So if you join us tomorrow, we'll start to share some of those game dates with you. Weather has been very cooperative throughout this month of September to give us the chance to stick to our schedule without any complications, and hoping that we can stay that lucky as we get into October as well. In the meantime, the NMA helped off the field, and action now set to continue. Again, a 4-0 lead for the Scarlet Hawks with a little less than 33 minutes on the second half clock. Everyone having a good time in the stands. These players playing free and easy out on the field. Mikey Morera with a little touch pass. It's intercepted. Now dumped back across by the Canton defense. Danny De Silva patient. This ball gets by him, but here's Capelli now, trying to turn this ball upfield. Now guides it back. Esteves with a nice ball in, just out of the reach of Capelli. Dylan Wright sliding out to get in the way. That ball ended up deflecting out. It'll be a goal kick for Dylan Wright. Milford whistled for the offsides. Scarlet Hawks looking to keep building on the season, looking for their second straight win. They've had points in each of their last 5 games. And coming into action today, they're tied in overall points on the season with Sharon, just a point behind in league points. So very close to the first place Sharon Eagles, of course still so early in the season. Milford last season had a year where things unfortunately just never were able to get on track for the boys. They ended up finishing in 6th place, had just 4 wins overall on the season, so a victory here today would already get them to within 1 win of their season total from a year ago. And you know this program came into this season with a lot to prove, trying to show the fans and show the rest of the league that last year was an outlier for this program that has been contending for league championships for the last decade. Toss in with just under 30 minutes to go in the second half. Andrade on the move has his progress blocked by the Canton defense. The Bulldogs will get the toss in. Canton with a couple of quick looks on Capelli right out of the gates here in the second half, but once again Milford has exerted their dominance as Gabe Santos blasts this ball out of play just shy of the home bleachers. The NMA back on the field, so after he was shaken up on the field a few moments ago, back out there for the Bulldogs as this ball slips in deep. Milford able to get the clear out to the far sideline. Canton races after, ball goes out of play. It'll be the Bulldogs who will toss it back in. Canton a little sloppy with that pass. Now Milford knifes it ahead to De Silva. Had so much momentum, he left the ball behind. Now trailing the play, Ribeiro sends a shot in towards right, and he was able to deflect it out of play. And Milford will take the corner kick from the far side. 4 corner kicks now in the game for Milford, none for the Bulldogs. Position for the header for Ribeiro. Now trying to take a whack at it. Out towards the near corner. Play by Sezek, and now knocked out of play. Relentless offensive pressure right now for the Scarlet Hawks as this ball comes in. Wright plucks it out of the air. 26:53 on the second half game clock. Very good footwork. Back to De Silva, who started the scoring in this game 4 minutes in to the first half. It's just a 1-goal lead for Milford until about 3 minutes to go in the first half. Ribeiro was able to tack on to the lead, and now 2 more goals here in the second half, and now another corner kick about to take place. Up straight up in the air to Silva. A little give and go. Take it back into the box. Fires on net, and the stop is made by Wright. Canton now trying to make something happen. This ball ends up deflecting in softly towards the Milford keeper. Robbie Capelli, no problem picking that one up. It's not really had to make any high leverage saves in this one so far. So now he lets this ball drift outside of the box, and now we'll send it upfield. Nice little pass from Ribeiro down into the corner. Cleared out for the moment by the Bulldogs. Angled back ahead, but Canton's nice and broken there. Now pushed through by Mora. Centered up for De Silva and got held, it looked like. Like one of the defenders maybe had the arm, but no whistle. So Perhaps no contact there. It looked like it was a sudden stop in the momentum there for De Silva. He didn't really protest, although again, getting a chance to look at it on the delay on the live stream, it did look like someone had a hold of De Silva's wrist as he collected that pass. Loose at the edge of the box. Canton will blast it in. The ball stopped by Capelli. Came straight down and around his feet. But able to secure the save. And maybe the first true shot on goal in this game today for the Bulldogs. Ribeiro now shakes loose from a couple of defenders. Pushed back by Canton's Owen Morrissey. 23:15 on the second half clock. Milford aggressive coming up on this ball. They blast it wide to the far side of the net. As Coach Erickson will deploy a couple of subs here with 22 minutes, just under 23 minutes to go. As that ball came down at the midfield. Take a quick peek at how the schedule is going to continue to unfold here for Milford in the days ahead. They'll be at home once again coming up on Monday to take on the King Philip Warriors. KP has had a rough start to their season. They are winless so far on the year right now. In the basement of the Kelly Rex division at 0-4. They've scored just one goal on the season while allowing 18. After that, the boys will be on the road for their next two, at Mansfield on the 26th and then at Franklin on the 30th. Their next game at home will be on October the 4th. Against the Oliver Ames Tigers, which could potentially be a matchup of first place teams depending on how things continue to transpire here over the next few weeks, as we have a timeout on the field right now stopping the clock with 21:34 to go. Oliver Ames out to a great start on the season, a perfect 4-0. They've scored 13 goals through their first 4 games. They've allowed just a single goal to their opponents. If I'm not mistaken, that may be one of our first games on our Milford TV coverage in the month of October. While we have the time, I'll just take a quick look ahead. We'll get that information for you again as we start to hone in on our October coverage coming up in the days ahead. Team's about to retake the field. So coming out of the timeout, Milford makes a change in net. So Capelli on the sideline, perhaps for the remainder of this one. Right now, the 4-0 lead with a little over 21 minutes to go. So perhaps Coach Pinto will take the opportunity to get some more of his bench activated in this one. Early check-in on the Milford goal after the change in personnel, and the save is made. And we apologize, but we don't have a name on the roster that we have up here in the booth for Milford's backup keeper, so we'll certainly do our due diligence in checking in with the coaching staff after this one so we can get our roster up to date. Meanwhile, a hard check from behind on Ribeiro. No whistle. We've seen these officials let some contact go here in the second half. Milford collecting this ball out of play along the far sideline. Certainly a little of the intensity has worn off here as we've gone through the second half, with Milford now up by 4. Ribeiro now again gets a little bit of a shove, able to bounce off of it, sends a shot in on net. Wright still out there for the Bulldogs, makes the save. Down deep for Corey Viename. Trying to push back towards the middle. Good close defense played by the Scarlet Hawks. Now knocked out of play by Gabe Santos. New single game high in goals scored for Milford today with the 4. They had previously scored 3 in a game in a victory against North Attleboro back on September the 5th. Knocked in offline by Brogan. Ball goes out of play, and Milford will have a goal kick. Some defeated body language out there for the Bulldogs, frustrated with how this game has transpired. They have not been able to keep up with the speed and intensity of Milford tonight. This ball sent in, the defense able to take some of the heat off of that ball. Cassine with a good play. Cassine, one of the goal scorers here in the second half. Gonzalez couldn't clear that ball out. And now Sezek loses his footing. Tried to keep body positioning, but Canton able to play that ball to their defense. Andrade back out onto the field for Milford. Up ahead with speed again, and this ball guided out of play. It will be another corner kick for the Scarlet Hawks. Can they make it 5 goals in this one? Looks like Gabe Santos will take the corner. Capelli charging in towards the post. That one flicked away. It was deflected off the hand of Dylan Wright. And so we'll get another corner now from the near side. And headed down, Santos was there at the post. But the whistle ends the scoring threat for Milford. So still a 4-0 lead with a little over 15 minutes to play. Bieneme, with his speed, trying to make something happen, goes tumbling out of play as he tried to center that pass up. Sprays across to the far corner, and now brought back towards the middle by the Scarlet Hawks. Flick to Mateus de Jesus. And now up ahead for Capelli. Good footwork, tried to blast that one in, deflected off of a Canton defender, and Wright ultimately able to find it. Play across the middle. Now guided back by the Bulldogs. Santos keeping an eye on Bieneme. Benjamin Weaver sends a pass up top for Nathaniel Rivera. Number of freshmen on this roster for Canton. As this ball comes in high and it's pulled down for the save. And plenty of leg on that kick. Impressive. All the way ahead to Capelli. Nearly able to settle that down for a look on goal, but a good defensive play for Miles Jareb. And tons of substitutions streak onto the field for both teams. Gio Capelli will get a rest, Gabe Santos as well. Mateus Zizek to the sideline, so a lot of the bench getting active. Really on both sides. Vlad Francoeur on the bench over on the Canton side. Bench is going to see a lot of playing time here over this last 12.5-minute stretch. In a game that Milford has well in hand. Toss in coming up here. Bulldogs, meanwhile, will be back at home for their next 2 games, but the competition stays tough in their next one for the Bulldogs as they will host the Oliver Ames Tigers. And the Taunton Tigers will come to town a few days later. So some tough competition for these Canton Bulldogs. Ball will roll out to the far side. Milford will toss it back in. So as we focus in on the action in this current season for this Milford boys soccer team, of course, this is a program that's had so much success over the last decade. And one of the things that we're going to work on over the next few weeks back at our studios is to get some of our coverage from the very memorable 2019 season up and running here on YouTube. At the time, those games had been housed on our video on demand site that we had at the time, a video on demand site that was difficult to navigate for our viewers here in Milford, and so we've of course since transitioned back to our tried and true YouTube channel, but we haven't quite been able to convert all of the coverage from that video on demand site back to YouTube. So we're going to work on getting those 2019 boys soccer games back here for everyone to enjoy. Of course, that included that incredible district championship game against Nauset. Milford taking down the nationally ranked Nauset in one of the biggest games played on this turf field in the last decade. So we'll get all those games up for you. We'll let you know when those are available. We may throw a couple of them up on our channel as well. Meanwhile, under 10 minutes to play here as Gio Guardalucci pushes that ball up ahead, now onto the foot of Lucas Teixeira. Whistle against Milford here, free kick for the Bulldogs. Short kick sent over to the near side for Tony Saphir. Milford quickly takes back over. Right now, nifty pass finds Oliveira, number 18 for Milford. Milford, a little bit of an awkward spot there right at the edge of the box. Not let that one leak back towards the keeper, and eventually it goes out of play along the far side. Less than 8 minutes to go now in this one. Milford with goals a little less than 2 minutes apart in the opening 10 minutes of the second half really put the game out of reach. Second half goals by Gianelli Cassine, as well as Gio Capelli, along with first half goals scored by Brian Ribeiro and Danny De Silva. Milford has done a good job distributing their offense through this early stretch of the season. Coming into this game, they had goals from Cassine, who now has 2, Bruno Esteves with a goal, Danny De Silva now with 2 goals with the one he scored in the first half tonight, Tico Lorenzo with a goal, and Gio Capelli now with 5 goals. 6 minutes left to play. Canton hoping they can avoid the shutout. Milford hoping to keep a clean sheet. Still going against Canton all the way along the far sideline. The contact over the middle again. These officials letting some things go. Couple more substitutions waiting to check in at midfield for Canton. We're now under the 5-minute mark. Pushed ahead to the far sideline and out. It'll stay possession with Milford. Finally a change in net on the Canton side. Dylan Wright playing the majority of this game, but now gives away, I believe it's John DiLorenzo, the backup keeper for the Bulldogs, who is in now. So not a lot of personnel that started this game still active out there on the field. Milford looking for back-to-back shutouts and 3 straight. Without allowing a goal. They have not allowed a goal to an opponent since their 1-1 draw against Medway back on September the 12th. They played to a scoreless draw against Stoughton on the 13th, and then that 2-0 win against Attleboro earlier this week. So certainly the optimism continues to grow for this program now with this hot start that they've had to the season. A team with a lot to prove coming into this season. Right now looking like they're playing with a chip on their shoulder, playing very well and battling it out right at the top of the Kelly Rec standings. Only 3 of the 6 Kelly Rex teams have victories so far on the season. Sharon, as we mentioned, 3-0-1 overall. And Milford at 2-1-3, Franklin at 2-1-4. And the rest of the teams winless. Attleboro at 0-4-1, Taunton at 0-4-1, and King Philip at 0-4-0. So not quite what we're used to seeing out of the Kelly Rex for boys soccer. Stoughton also a winless team in the Hawk down in the Davenport division, 0-2-1 to start the season. Ball back to the Milford keeper, another sure-handed play. Less than 2 minutes to go now. Putting the finishing touches on a dominant effort for the Scarlet Hawks, and meanwhile a yellow card issued here in these closing minutes. Perhaps. Saw an exchange with the official there, not quite sure if the card was issued or not. And so indeed, Ryan Bieneme, the freshman, issued the yellow card. So a free kick here for Milford. Closing time in this one, perhaps tacking on one final exclamation point on the night. We'll see. And fired in on the rebound chance, and now this will scoot in through traffic, so eventually Milford puts it in. Says to Jesus. Eventually putting that ball in, just keeping traffic there in front of the net, and eventually puts it in here again in just about the final minute of play. And so Milford makes it an even 5-0 lead. It's wrapping up an all-around stellar performance for this boys soccer program. And still a little bit of pressure to put on here for this offense as they send that ball in on net. The stop made. So there is your final whistle. And so Milford puts this one away in decisive fashion as they defeat the Canton Bulldogs by a final score of 5-0. Again, goals in this game scored by Danny De Silva all the way back in the start of the first half. Brian Ribeiro to make it a 2-0 lead at the close of the first half, and then 3 goals here in the second half. Gianelli Cassine, Gio Capelli, and then one final goal put in right in the final seconds by Mateus De Jesus. And it all adds up to a dominant performance here for the Scarlet Hawks tonight. With the victory, Milford improves to 3-1-3 overall on the season, and with the loss, Canton will fall to 2-3-0. We hope you will join us right back here on the turf field tomorrow night, as we will have week 3 football action for you as Milford takes on the Wellesley Raiders. Kickoff at 7 p.m. We'll get the live stream going about 30 minutes before kickoff. So we hope you will join us tomorrow night for some exciting football action here on Milford TV. But that's going to wrap things up here for tonight. A big thank you to Patrick Garapi manning the cameras up top, and I am Tim Coet coming to you live from the Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. And that final score, one final time, Milford with a 5-0 victory over the Canton Bulldogs. This has been a presentation of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. So long, everybody.